Hi, grade 11. So today I'm taking up the chapter 5.4 homework questions, page 299, number 2C, 4C, 5C, 8C, and 12. So we'll start with 2C. So question 2 says, each point lies on the terminal arm of angle theta in standard position. So C is -5, -8. So if I have the point -5, -8, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's -5. 1, 2, 3. I'll just go down by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is the point, and this is the terminal arm here. So I'm going to draw my triangle, and the angle that I'm trying to find is this angle here, all the way till my terminal arm. So I'm going to start by finding this angle, which is the related acute angle, and then I'll be able to find angle theta. So I know that this is -5, this is -8, just because this point is -5, -8. So part 1 says, draw a sketch. Part 2, determine the value of r, so the hypotenuse. So I'm just going to use the formula for that. So r equals the square root of x squared plus y squared. So x squared would be -5 squared, and y squared would be -8 squared. And that's 25 plus 64. 25 and 64 is 89. And the square root of 89 is approximately 9.4. So R is 9.4. Then determine the primary trig ratios for angle theta. So I'm going to do sine, cos, and tan, just using SOHCAHTOA. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so opposite is -8 over the hypotenuse is 9.4. Cos is adjacent over hypotenuse, so that would be -5 over 9.4. And tan is opposite over adjacent, so that's -8 over -5, which is 8 over 5. Now, part 4 says calculate the value of theta to the nearest degree. So I'm going to find this angle here, and then I'll be able to calculate theta. I'm going to use tan just because it doesn't have any decimals in it, so it's the most accurate. So tan theta equals 8 over 5. Theta equals tan inverse 8 over 5. Use your calculator, and you will get 57.99, which we will round to 58. Now, this angle here is 58. So the entire angle is 180 plus 58. 180 plus 58 is 238 degrees. So this angle is 238 degrees. Number 4C. Use the related acute angle. Use the related acute angle to state an equivalent expression. So C is tan 110. So tan 110, if I draw that on a coordinate plane, 110 degrees. So quadrant 1 goes to 90. So it's just going to be past that a little bit. So it's going to be right here. This is going to be 110 degrees. Now tan in the second quadrant is negative. So let's check that by typing tan 110 into your calculator, and you will get -2.75. So yeah, it is negative in the second quadrant. So now we need to ask, where else is tan negative? Tan is also negative in the fourth quadrant, right? So we need to look at the related acute angle here, which would be 180 minus 110 is 70. So that means this angle here will be 70. So now we need to do 360 minus 70, and that is 290. So 110, and then around here to 290. So tan 290 should be the same as tan 110. So let's check, punch it in your calculator, and sure enough you get -2.75, so they are equivalent. All right, 5C. For each angle theta, predict which primary trig ratios are positive and determine the ratios to the nearest hundredth. So, just draw this. This is 71, and I need to find this angle here. So, I have here, from here to here would be 180 degrees, right? But I'm going backwards. So as soon as you start at the x-axis and go clockwise, that's a negative measurement. So now I'm at negative 180, but I have to go 71 more. So I'm also going to subtract another 71. So negative 180 minus 71 equals negative 251. So angle theta is negative 251 degrees. All right, so this angle occurs in quadrant 2. So in quadrant 2, sine is positive. So that means sine is going to be positive, cos will be negative, and tan will be negative. We had to predict which ones would be positive. Now we're going to find them to the nearest hundredth. So grab your calculator and we'll do sine negative 251. I just put it in brackets because it's negative and your calculator might think you're subtracting 251 from something. Punch that into your calculator and you should get 0.95. Sure enough, that is positive. Cos negative 251 in your calculator is negative 0.33. Yes, that's negative. And tan negative 251 is negative 2.90. And yes, that's negative. All right, 8C. Use each trigonometric ratio to determine all the values of theta to the nearest degree if theta is between 0 and 360. So cos theta equals negative 0.8722. So we need to find this angle. So you use your calculator and cos inverse of negative 0.8722. And that should come up on your calculator as 150.72, which will round to 151 because it says to the nearest degree. Now, there's going to be two solutions, right? For every angle, there's two solutions between 0 and 360. So, you need to sketch this on a coordinate plane. 151 degrees, that's less than 180 but more than 90, so it's going to occur in quadrant 2. So that's 151 degrees. Now, the solution was negative. So I need to ask myself, where else is cos negative? And that's in quadrant 3 because of cast. So I need to find the related acute angle, and then that will be the same as this related acute angle, and then I can find the total to here. Okay? So the related acute angle there in yellow is 180 minus 151. 180 minus 151 is 29. So this angle is 29, which means this one is also 29. So now I'll do 180 because I have this 180 plus another 29. And that puts me at 209. So my two solutions for theta are 151 and 209. Okay, letter E of 8. Cosecant theta equals negative 2.3424. So this one's just a little different because now it's using a reciprocal trig ratio. So we need to get it into a primary trig ratio. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. So 1 over sine theta equals negative 2.3424. Now I need to get sine theta by itself. So just to show you all the steps, multiply both sides by sine theta. Now those ones cancel out. Now I have 1 equals negative 2.3424 sine theta. divide both sides by negative 2.3424. 1 divided by negative 2.3424 is negative 0.4269, and that equals sine theta. Now to get theta by itself, I'll do the sine inverse. And theta is negative 25.27. So now that this is negative, this is actually not one of my solutions, but it's going to help me get both of my solutions. So as soon as I see a negative degree measurement, you start at the x-axis and you go clockwise. So this is negative 25.27. Now, I need to find the principal angle, which starts at the x-axis and goes counterclockwise to here. So that's 360 minus 25.27. And that is 334.73. Now, this is sine, and it's negative. Sine is negative. So we need to ask, where else is sine negative? Sorry, this is A, C-A-S-T. Sine is also negative in quadrant 3. So I'm going to draw the same angle in quadrant 3. The related acute angle will be the same, 25.27. But now it's not negative, because the negative just means that I'm starting this way and starting at the x-axis and going clockwise. So 25.27, so now I will have 180 plus 25.27. And that is equal to 205.27. So if I round those two, my two solutions are 335 and 205. Okay, and number 12. Number 12 says, given cos theta equals negative 5/12 where theta is between 0 and 360, A, in which quadrant would the terminal arm of theta lie? So cos theta equals negative 5/12. So it's negative. Cos theta equals something that's negative. So we need to use cast, C-A-S-T. Where is it negative? In quadrant 2 and 3. So it's going to be in quadrant 2 or 3. And the only reason we know that is because it's negative. B says determine all the possible primary trig ratios for theta. So I'm just going to draw this. So if it was in quadrant 2, I would go back up 5, negative 5, and up 12. Right, and that would be my angle. And if it was in quadrant 3, I would back up 5 and go down 12. Now, primary trig ratios, if this is my angle here, and this was negative 5, and this was 12, and this was negative 12, I need to find what r would be. So I'm going to do negative 5 squared plus negative 12 squared, and see how whether it's positive 12 or negative 12 doesn't make a difference because it's being squared. So it's going to end up being a positive number. And that's 25 plus 144. R equals 25, and 144 is 119. The squared 119. I'm not going to find what that is just because it's not a nice number, so I'm just going to use root 119. Now, I'm going to do quadrant 2 and quadrant 3 separately. So in quadrant 2, my ratios would be, so that's here. So let's do sine. Sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So the opposite would be 12 over the hypotenuse is root 119. Cos theta would be adjacent, which is negative 5 over the hypotenuse, which is root 119. And tan theta is opposite over adjacent, which is tan theta is opposite over adjacent, which is root 119. No, opposite is 12 and adjacent is 5. 12 over negative 5. And then in quadrant 3, okay, so So I actually made a mistake over here. So I'm just going to back up and erase all of this. And this. So I actually drew the triangle wrong because I was just using x and y, but I need to use cos, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. So if the adjacent is -5, then this would be -5, but then the hypotenuse would be 12, not the opposite. So I need to find the opposite side, which is y. So I'm going to do r squared equals x squared plus y squared, and r squared is the hypotenuse, which is 12 squared, equals x, which is -5 squared plus y squared. So I have 144 equals 25 plus y squared. Y squared equals 144 minus 25, which is 119. And root 119, I was just copying things down wrong. So this side length y is root 119. So now using that, I can find the ratios for quadrant 2. Sine theta is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's root 119 over 12. Cos theta is -512, which they already gave us. And tan theta is opposite over adjacent, which is root 19 over -5. Then for quadrant 3, I have sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse is root 119, but now it's negative root 119 because we're going down here on the y, so that would be negative root 119 over 12, and then cos is -5 over 12, and tan theta is root 119 over -5, and those negative signs just cancel out, so it's -119 over 5. I can't write there. And that's over 5. All right, so now that was B, the primary trig ratios for theta. And then C, evaluate all possible values of theta to the nearest degree. So we're going to have one in quadrant 2 and one in quadrant 3. So cos theta equals -5 over 12. Grab your calculator. Theta equals cos inverse -5 over 12. And on your calculator, that would give you 114.62. So that means this angle here, because they always start at the x-axis, is 114.62. So now I can find the related acute angle. This is 180, so I'll do 180 minus 114.62. And that is 65.38. So that means this one here is 65.38, which means this one is also 65.38. So that would be 180 plus 65.38 equals 245.4. So now my two angles are this one here and this one here. So my angles are 114, so that rounds to 115, and 245. All right, I hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have more questions.